What up, what up, what up, and welcome, everybody. Welcome, man. Yo, look, man, this is a new goddamn video. You know how the hell this works. Man, I am here with my boy, goddamn DOKU. DOKU, say what up to the people.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Let's. God, this is gonna be fun.
All right, so like I have two videos today, you know what I'm saying, that I wanted to break down. Like one of them I don't want to break down. One of them is some foundational shit that my boy Turd Flinging Monkey actually used in one of his videos explaining the political trichotomy, which I tried to send the Rational Outlaw here recently, and the nigga was like, I saw that, but I ignored it so that I could do my video as the way I wanted to do it because I like the old political fucking 4-point chart better than the 3-point chart that's, you know what I mean, the political trichotomy, the triangle that we have now. You know what I'm saying? And that's kind of where, you know what I'm saying, the mental is as far as shit's really concerned, right? You understand what I'm saying? DOKU.
No, I feel you. And
All right.
yeah, that.
All right, so let's see if this motherfucking works in OBS real quick.
There, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. You. Can you hear me? Good. All right, this is gonna go well, and I can tell right now. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna be positive. Let's get into the video.
Letter to Open-Minded Progressives, which was published on June 12, 2008. These next 3 videos on MOLDBUG will all be on part 9 of the open letter, and will be a bit different in style from the previous 6 videos. In the first series of videos, I set about selecting passages from his letter and demonstrating their truthfulness through example. In this series, I will be reading the letter at a greater length to fully articulate his points. MOLDBUG begins part 9 by describing how the origins of the progressive versus conservative conflict is to be found in the conflict between progressive Christians and fundamentalist Christians in the early 20th century. MOLDBUG cites Professor Carlton Hayes' book, A Political and Cultural History of Modern Europe, published in 1916 and updated in 1924, which describes how the original progressives were a Protestant sect in opposition to fundamentalist Christians. I will read his embedded quotation to set the context. Hayes says, quote, among Protestant Christian sects, there were several significant movements toward cooperation and even toward formal union. Many barriers between them were broken down, at least in part, by the Young Men's Christian Association, which had been founded in the 19th century, but which expanded very rapidly during and after the Great War. The Salvation Army, dating from about the year 1880, was another factor in the same process. It placed emphasis on spiritual earnestness, on evangelical work among the poor, and on charitable endeavors, rather than on sectarian controversies. There were also...
All right, DOKU, did you see all that shit, man? Did you hear all the stuff that my man said right there?
Yeah, I did, and I'm gonna let you lead off first because I'm going to be openly admitted very biased.
All right. So, like, in being a Christian and understanding how the Christian church works, this is an absolute truth, right? This is not lies. This is not garbage. This is not nonsense. This is absolute truth. And you can see it even in the church today between individuals who are fundamentalist and individuals who are more progressives. Like it's two different sects. It's people who stand here and go, well, you know what I mean, they need to stop making these shitty decisions. And then people who go, well, we need to save the children and the women's and, you know, fucking help the poor, these type of individuals. And this is where the division in the Protestant church came from. And this is where progressivism originally came from. This is all out of like places like Boston and Philadelphia and New York, and even places like Richmond and London and France back in 1700s.
Yeah, you're not wrong. When it comes to progressive values, and you can see it just in the name of our political parties. There's one group that has the idea of you want to conserve certain things. If something is working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It doesn't need fixing. Then you have the other side of the coin where could we be better? Well, yeah, sure, I guess we could, But how many new problems are you going to create by trying to fix a system that doesn't need fixing to begin with? And this is the reason you always say, if you're blindly tolerant of people, inevitably you're going to end up inviting in those who would seek to destroy you from the inside. This is where progressivism and tolerance, the far left, actually has a problem because they just assume everybody is going to be, this of the same mindset you are. They're all going to be good people. Evil doesn't exist in the world. Just everybody be nice. The golden rule. And guess what, dude? That's not fucking reality. That's not the way the real world works. If you go about living your life with that type of naive, childish mindset that everything is hunky dory and it's all sunshine and fucking rainbows and the lollipop king reigns supreme, you're gonna end up getting fucking killed one way or another.
Yeah, so
that's just the way the world works. That's reality.
I feel where you are, right? You know what I mean? But these are the two different movements, and we're gonna keep going with this video a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Just because there's a lot of really good information in here for individuals that people probably have never heard before, and I think it's important that people hear this. All right, this is probably one of the most important videos that I'm probably going to ever do on my channel, and it's completely non-controversial, which is fucking helpful. So let's keep banging.
Dude, hit it.
There were also various, quote, federations of churches, end quote, and in Canada, after the Great War, several Protestant denominations were actually united. Such interdenominational and unifying movements were made easier by the fact that the original theological differences between the various sects were no longer regarded as very important by a large number of church members. Some Protestants, reacting against the decline of dogma and the doubting of the miraculous and the supernatural, turned increasingly toward Christian Science or towards spiritualism or theosophy. In some countries, and especially in the United States, the current vogue of Darwinism and other theories of evolution caused a new outburst of opposition from stalwart groups of Protestants to the claims of, quote, science, end quote, and a stubborn reaffirmation of their fundamental faith in the literal inspiration of the Bible. These, quote, fundamentalists, end quote, as they were called, were fairly numerous in several Protestant denominations, and they contested with their, quote, progressive, end quote, or, quote, modernist, end quote, brethren, the control of Protestant churches, particularly the Presbyterian, Episcopalian, Baptist, and Methodist, end quote. Now we get to MOLDBUG. Quote, your present-day progressive or modernist may retain some vestigial belief in God, or not, but she certainly does not think of her faction as a Christian supersect. Meanwhile, her fundamentalist adversaries have largely appropriated the label Christian. Neither side sees the red-blue conflict as that old staple of European history, the Christian sectarian war. To our modern fundamentalists, the term has become so opprobrious that they will respond better, dear open-minded progressive, if you use the word traditionalist. The idea that liberalism is actually mainstream Protestant Christianity is about as off the wall as it gets, and it must strike most progressives as equally weird. But here it is in black and white from a legendary Columbia historian. Obviously, someone is off the wall. Maybe it's me. Maybe it's you. Are you feeling paranoid yet, dear reader? When dealing with historical movements, it's often useful to ask, is this dead or alive? If the former, what killed it, when, and how? If you cannot find any answers to these questions, it is a pretty good clue that you're looking at something which isn't dead. And if it's not dead, it must be alive. And if it's alive, but you no longer identify it as a distinct movement, the only possible answer is that it has become so pervasive that you do not distinguish between it and reality itself. In other words, you do not feel you have any serious alternative to supporting the movement. And you are probably right. Note that this is exactly how you, dear open-minded progressive, see the modern children of those stubborn fundamentalists. You read the conflict asymmetrically. You don't think of yourself as someone who believes in progressivism. You don't believe in anything. You are not a follower at all. You are a critical and independent thinker. Rather, it is your fundamentalist enemies, the tribe across the river who are the Jesus-besotted zombie bots. End quote. The line of reasoning that MOLDBUG is beginning here is essential to his work and neo-reaction. The cathedral is not merely a clever metaphor for progressive institutions. Progressivism is quite literally a religion, its foundational mythology enshrined in the words, quote, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, end quote. Americans are not taught to examine the Declaration of Independence critically, but mulling over it for mere moments shows that there is nothing self-evident about this at all. In fact, simple observation shows that the opposite is better evidenced. Yet people believe it, because it is part of the American tradition, as MOLDBUG reminds us. Quote, "The first step toward a historical perspective on the conflict is to acknowledge that both of these traditions are exactly that, traditions. You did not invent..."
All right, Doku, you heard that part, right?
Yeah. I'm kind of on the fence about this.
I mean,
I
legit
don't
though,
know, man.
like
What
if you think about it, right? If you think about it on some shit, like stand here and you know what I'm saying, you think about it and you go fucking yeah. Like if you think about the U.S. Constitution and you say, well, we hold these truths, the Bill of Rights, we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. Created by who?
that's being said, putting my criticism of the other side of the aisle aside, what they're saying actually does kind of force me to actually look at my own belief system, where is there a certain degree of idealism to what I believe and how I view the Constitution, or just yeah, in general how I interact with people? Yes, there is. And I hold my own personal dogma. And I believe the other side of the aisle probably views things in a similar way. I just happen to not agree with how they view the world. Uh,
This is some absolute shit, and I'm cool with that, right? I'm cool with that mentality, right? But the reason why, like, I'm playing this video for you right now, like, the reason why, like, you know, we're standing here having this conversation at the moment is because, like, as you look at things, things are much different than they actually have been told to you. And a lot of what we hold inside of our heads, you know what I mean, isn't true. And it's important to understand that it goes back much further than you think. And this is where
but I
this
agree.
is where this video's going.
And I agree with you because, like I said, even viewing, just listening to the video and having this conversation, I'm not, I'm not looking to criticize the other side of the aisle. Obviously, as I stated prior, I have a bias. My mind is pretty much made up. If you're gonna change my mind, you better bring some pretty damn good fucking evidence. But that aside, I want to view things from a more introspective standpoint,
But
because
you can't.
my outlook on things is also somewhat idealistic.
But you
So,
can't. You cannot look at things from an introspective fucking viewpoint. You have to look at them from as the entirety. Because this
and
is a
that's why
macro
I like the
problem.
fact that we're actually having this conversation. We're not doing what we usually do, where we're just going to argue our bias and you know essentially be assholes. Because again, my mind is made up, but it is a good exercise in realizing that yeah, you view the world in a certain way, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your worldview is necessarily correct either. So there's always two sides to the coin.
Right. I mean, but here's the part, you know what I'm saying, that like, you know, I really want to get through. You know what I'm saying? This is the part that I really want to get through. And this is fucking highly important. Understanding that your entire system is still based off religion. No, I mean.
Oh
Anyway.
yeah, no, I thought you
Nah.
were gonna play again, but just to
No, no,
just
no.
touch on
Like
that
that.
point
This
real
this is
quick.
this is kind of the whole point. Everybody's shit is based off religion. Even me and you as libertarian shit, whatever the case might be, Mad Dodge, it doesn't matter. I don't care how atheist you are. If you believe, you know what I'm saying, in the independence of man, it's based off of a religious stance.
Well, if you really want to boil it down to the ultimate truth of everything, and I know I'm going to sound extremely pragmatic, and I'm not going to apologize for it, your religion, there's still a dogma that dictates how you choose to interact with people. Just how you conduct yourself on your daily business. There is the dogma. There's an mindset. Whether it's Christian,
Okay, cool. So it's not just me. It's not just me. I thought it was just me. Yo, Doku, you are a robot and something serious, son.
All right, testing.
You're good. You're good. You're good. I thought it was just me. Like I thought it's because my OBS was like my computer was just like frying at the moment. Like, like.
Oh no, dude. They're doing some road work and some blasting over here, and I think they actually destroyed one of Comcast's hubs.
Oh,
That's
gotcha. You sound good now. You sound fine now. I don't know what the fucking deal is and shit. But anyway, okay, yeah, we're good now. I'm sorry. Like, yeah, if you want to repeat what you just said, legit, because like the whole thing was like.
Oh yeah, my bad, and future apologies for anybody listening. And no, the only thing I was saying is, regardless if you're religious or not, there is a certain set of ideals. There is a dogma that dictates how you conduct yourself. You don't necessarily have to be religious. Whether you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, doesn't matter. What is important is that you do live your life by a certain set of rules, a certain set of commandments, ideals. Call it what you want.
No, that's not what this is about in any way, shape, or form. What I'm telling you is, legitimately, all right? I'm saying that even the fucking, like, all of Western civilization, their fucking real religion is progressivism. And it came from the Protestant church.
I would say that in recent history, yes. It wasn't always like that back in the day.
I mean, it's been like this probably since like 16 something, 17 something.
The 1700s, yes. And that was, well, as we'll get into later, the start of the liberal movement, where things weren't exactly grounded in a stoic form of religious beliefs or religious outlooks.
I mean, because I have an argument. I have an argument for you right now, right? And I was thinking about this earlier, and I was trying to find the best way to be able to make an argument that, you know what I'm saying, would defeat the mentality of all men should have rights, right? Now, let's say you're a pedophile, right? And you're a loser and you have no skills and you have no abilities and you don't offer shit to the markets. You're never going to contribute to society. You're nothing but a drag on society as a whole, right? Just in general. Just because, you know, there's a couple of these people out here in the world. And then you have a puppy who makes life very good for everybody, right? You know what I'm saying? People love puppies, and it's a good dog, and it gets people's socks, and it saves people, and it sniffs out drugs at the airport. You know what I'm saying? And why should that person have a motherfucking, like, why should that person there have any rights over top of that dog?
Well, and you're touching on something. Why should we reward somebody for failure?
No. The question is, what makes that person have inherent value?
Again, you're touching on a subject where, from an idealistic standpoint, you'll hear people make the argument, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind.
And Fridge, if you want to jump in, my brother, you can. Like, you can unmute and holler. Like, I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, this is what these videos are about, is getting everybody's perspective and understanding everybody's shit. And I want to break this down as the best way possible and try to reach as many individuals as possible to educate them, and not just educate them, but really, you know what I'm saying, like, just open eyes about what's really going on. You know what I mean? So just so you know, you can open your mouth at any time you want to and say whatever the fuck you want. You know what I mean? As long as, like, you don't start screaming nigger. That would really fucking piss off my fucking The YouTube peoples. You know what I'm saying? But even then, you know, it's a free speech channel. You know how this works. But anyway, yeah. So like again, what gives people the link isn't running right for me? That's fucking gay. I'm sorry, man. You know what I mean? You don't have to like chat, dude. Like it's not working at the moment. Like the video's not running. Like I stop it and I run it and I stop it and I run it. You know what I mean? Just so we can break down what we just saw and have a conversation about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not running the motherfucking thing. We're just kind of sitting here at the second having a conversation about what we just heard because this is big shit. Like this is gigantic. You know what I mean? Like this is fundamental to the way of life of Western civilization and understanding that all of it is based off of a fucking progressive religion that we have no idea about. And we're about to hear some shit. You know what I mean? That's going to change, you know what I mean, the mental again and like fucking put some more shit on it. So Doku, you about ready for that right now?
Yeah, I just want to finish up this last thought.
Go ahead.
So you, again, going back to two sides of the same coin, you can have the one side where you have this idealistic viewpoint on what the world is supposed to be or what it should be, what it could be. Again, an eye for an eye leaves the whole world blind. Yeah, you have that idealistic interpretation of how things should be. Then you have the other side of the coin where it's a little more nihilistic, a little more grounded in reality, to be honest, where, guess what? Not everybody shares that same sentiment. And this is where progressivism really does fall apart. You can't blindly accept everything just because, oh, but it's the right thing to do. No, it's not the way the real world works. And you have to accept that. It's unfortunate, but it's a harsh truth of reality. To deny it is naive.
I feel what you're saying, right? Like, I feel where you're at right now. And I feel like what you're doing is you're having the wrong argument. Right? Like, because this is not an argument about different ideologies. It's not. This is an argument about, in general, you know what I'm saying, a flaw in the system, right? Sorry.
The reason I bring it up is because when you look at it, let's be honest, this country was founded on the basis of religious freedom. It was fundamentally a Christian country. You know, the golden rule: treat other people as you want to be treated, turn the other cheek, etc., etc. Even from that standpoint, it is inherently flawed because there even in the Christian Bible there is such a thing as evil. To deny it is foolish.
Okay, let's take a second here and get on this level. Because what I'm trying to tell you is this, right? That literally what I'm telling you is that the religion, the United States was formed under the progressive religion of the fucking Protestant church, right? And this Protestant progressive religion has no God, but it has a God at the same time. And it's based on nothing but beliefs from the very fucking beginning. Like, it's all just beliefs. There's nothing behind it. It's all just a fucking straight belief. There is no logic to the fact that individuals are all created equal. There's no logic to the fact that people are endowed with any inalienable rights. There's no logic to any of this shit. Like, you can't logically go, there's reasons for this. Because if I can logically go, yo, I can make them logical fucking assumptions for monkeys and goddamn dogs, you better fucking believe there's a goddamn problem in the fucking system.
That's the thing. You're not wrong. If you really boil everything down to the basic fundamental parts, it's all predicated on faith.
And that's kind of where I'm at. And what you have to understand is that faith, that belief, that mentality, that religion, all right, is a Western religion, right? It's a religion like all other fucking religions. There's no difference except that it doesn't have a God. So therefore, it's still a religion, though it doesn't have a God, and it's led up to where we are today with the progressive movement.
And ironically enough, you bring up a very good point by pointing that out. Uh, the faith, the religion that we have, it's all contingent on that we hold these beliefs, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Without the practitioners, without the people that believe this, it has nothing. It has no legs to stand on. It is built on faith. It's built on a dogmatic way of looking at the world, for better or worse.
Yeah, I feel you. Right. So like that's kind of where I'm at. And we're gonna get into that here in a second, right? And like I just like I legit like today I had to look up fucking MOLDBUG. You know what I'm saying? Like I had to look him up. So let's get into this and like we'll understand what's going on. I have to read his fucking book. Like this guy is he's actually only like 50 years old right now. He wrote this book, but he quoted a lot of individuals far before his time. You know what I mean, who were around in the 18 and fucking 1900s and shit. So, you know what I mean, it's one of those things where you go, oh, apparently this has existed much longer than we think. And this is where my argument is with Excel. Where Excel goes, oh man, this is just post-Marxism. I'm like, I think you're fighting the fangs of a fucking snake and you don't see the rest of its fucking body. Like this is much deeper than you think it is. So
I don't disagree, but go ahead and
let's
go ahead
keep
and hit
banging.
it. Let's go hot.
All right, let's keep banging.
Whole perspective on the conflict is to acknowledge that both of these traditions are exactly that, traditions. You did not invent progressivism any more than Billy Joe invented fundamentalism. Thanks to Professor Hayes, we know this absolutely because we know that both of these things existed 84 years ago, and you are not 84. And what is the difference between a mere tradition and an honest-to-God religion? Theology. A many-God or a three-God or a one-God tradition is a religion. A no-God tradition is... well, there isn't really a word for it, is there? This is a good clue that someone has been tampering with the tools you use to think. Because there must be as many ways to not believe in a god or gods as to believe in them. I am an atheist. You are an atheist. But you are a progressive, and I am not a progressive. If we can have multiple sects of Christianity, why can't we have multiple sects of atheism? Let's rectify this linguistic sabotage by calling a no-god tradition an a-religion. A one-god tradition is a uni-religion. A two-god one is a di-religion. A three-god one is a tri-religion. One with more gods than you can shake a stick at is a poly-religion. And so on. We see instantly that while progressivism, 2008 style, is an a-religion, it does not at all follow that it is the one true a-religion. Oops. Question. In a political conflict between a di-religion and a poly-religion, which side should you support? What about an a-religion versus a tri-religion? Let's assume that, like me, you believe in no gods at all. One easy answer is to say the fewer gods, the better. So we would automatically support the di-religion over the poly-religion, etc. I think the stupidity of this is obvious. We could also say that all traditions which promote gods are false, and therefore we should favor the a-religion over the tri-religion. Unfortunately, even if we assume that the a-religion is right on the deity question, and not even one of the three gods exists, the two could not engage in a political conflict if they did not disagree on many subjects in the temporal plane. Who is more likely to be right on these mundane matters which actually do matter? We have no reason at all to think that just because the a-religion is right about gods, it is right about anything else. And we have no reason at all to think that just because the tri-religion is wrong about gods, it is wrong about anything else. So this is really just as stupid, and I hope you haven't been taken in by it. Lots of smart people believe stupid things. The second step is to acknowledge the possibility that, on any issue, both competing traditions could be peddling misperceptions. In fact, we've just seen it. Neither side wants you to know that progressivism is the historical mainstream of Protestant Christianity. Only in the pages of smelly old books, and of course here at UR, will you find this little tidbit of history. This is pretty standard for religions, which always have a habit of obscuring their own pasts." End quote. MOLDBUG has opened up novel avenues of thinking for us here. As he points out, we don't have a word for a type of tradition without a god. If there isn't a word for such a simple concept, it should make you worry that the reason for this void could be because someone doesn't want you to be thinking about the idea in the first place. Clearly, there can be religious traditions without a god, ideas with their own theology sans the personhood of a deity. MOLDBUG has given us the word our religion to describe such a tradition, a type that Americans know very well. As previously mentioned, one is enshrined in the Declaration of Independence. The self-evidenced equality of men is stated as a truth evident in of itself beyond the necessity of requiring additional proof. This belief is quite Christian, and the fact that modern progressives maintain it despite their atheism is ironic but not surprising. After all, as we know, progressivism was created by Christians from Christian beliefs. The cathedral has concealed this to perfection, and MOLDBUG next explains to us why this illusion is maintained. Quote, "Why do both sides agree on this misperception? The fundamentalist motivation is obvious. As a traditionalist Christian, you believe in God. It is obvious that anyone who doesn't believe in God cannot possibly be a Christian. The idea that there could be any kind of historical continuity between people believe in God and people who don't believe in God is absurd. It's like saying that Jesus was just some dude. But as someone who doesn't believe in God, you have absolutely no reason to accept this argument. Do you care, dear open-minded progressive, what wacky stuff those wacky fundies believe in? Do you care whether they worship God in one person, God in 3 persons, God in 47 persons, or God in the person of a turtle? No. No. From the progressive side, there is a very different problem. The problem is that if progressivism is indeed a Christian supersect, it is also a criminal conspiracy. Assuming you're an American, dear open-minded progressive, you might have forgotten that it's quite literally illegal for the federal government to, quote, make an establishment of religion, end quote. While its authors and ratifiers never meant the clause to mean what it means today, we do have a living constitution. The law is what it is now, and over the last half-century our friends in high places have been quite enthusiastic about deploying it against their fundamentalist foes. Perhaps some perspective can be obtained by replacing the words modernist and fundamentalist in Professor Hayes' narrative with Sunni and Shia. The First Amendment does not say, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of Shiism. More to the point, it does not say, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion until that religion manages to sneak God under the carpet, at which point go ahead, dudes. Rather, the obvious spirit of the law is that Congress shall be neutral with respect to the theological disputes of its citizens, such as that described by Professor Hayes. Has it been? End quote. If we recall the opening on the first video, I noted that the cathedral...
Alright, so... what the fuck? Motherfucking goddamn fucking DOKU fucking bounced. Alright, DOKU, you here? You back, man? You back? Can you hear me, my brother? 1 2 1 2 1 2. Anyway, right? I wanted everybody to have a grounded. Hey, all right, there you go. Can you hear me and shit? DOKU. Anyway, I wanted everybody to have a grounding in exactly what was going on, you know what I'm saying, and what the situation was and where we were with this entire mentality. Right. I think it's kind of important, you know what I'm saying, before we get into our second video, you know what I mean, in where we are, you know what I mean, because in order to understand what progressivism is, you have to understand the very beginnings of all this. And so we're going to get into the second half of this, which is an entirely different video altogether, where Sargon, PSASITCHS, and a couple of other individuals who I really don't care about, to be perfectly honest with you, are going to stand here and talk about progressivism and is it a religion, right? Because, like, yo, now that we all know that it absolutely is a religion, it makes life much easier for us to, you know what I mean, have an actual conversation about it. So, let's go. Man, listen, put me like, yo. There we go. All right, here we are. Man, listen. X. All right, we're going to go up with this and then hit watch. I don't know if this is actually going to work like this or not. Yep.
Hey now! Now, it's your boy PSASITCHS here with another Sunday live stream with everyone's favorite Adam, friend and forever. And today, we're actually 2 minutes early. Oh my God. It's an atheist miracle. Praise whoever or no one. It doesn't matter. Anyways, today we're joined by our friends Sargon of Akkad and Dark.
Wait, here we go. Hang on, wait a minute. It should do this properly. I don't know why it is that it's being like a little whore about things. Legit, like it's being fucking stupid.
Hey now, it's your boy PSASITCHS here with another Sunday live stream with everyone's favorite Adam, friend and forever. And today, we're actually 2 minutes early. Oh my God.
Oh wait, it's not working. All right, that's why. Okay, cool. I wanted to see what the hell was going on. All right. So now, hang on a second. I'm trying to get this motherfucker to work. I don't know what the hell is going on. Automatic. It's not working. Legit, it's not working. Why is it not working? I don't understand why it's not doing what I want it to do. Anyway, right? Like, yo, I might have to stand here and do something else. Right? Like, yeah, I don't really know, like, exactly what to do at this second. Right? Because I want to change this video. I'm not real sure exactly how to do it. Anyway, right? Like, I wanted to stand here and have this video load up, you know what I mean, so we could watch the second one and whatnot, because I'm not real sure exactly of how to make that happen. DOKU, you there, man? DOKU, are you there, man? DOKU. Man, listen. Yo, look, don't be fucking my goddamn video up by bouncing like halfway through and shit. Man, listen. All right. Anyway, right. Yo, look. I guess we're kind of going to have to end on that one at the second. Oh, God damn it, DOKU. DOKU, are you finally there, man? Legit. You need to fucking be here.
All right, there we go.
All right, you there, man?
Yeah, dude, it's Comcast. It was giving me problems last night. Apparently, they haven't fixed.
Oh wait, there we go. Yeah, I made it work. Woohoo!
My phone beat.
Cool. I made this shit work. All right,
like I said, man, my bad.
It's cool. You know what I'm saying? All right. So now I made this next video work. Did you watch the last one?
Yeah, but I don't really have a lot to say about it, to be honest.
I feel you. And by the way, you're breaking up all ridiculous again. I just want to let you know you're roboting real bad. And I mean,
all right.
You're good. Okay. So we're going to get into this next video, you know what I'm saying? And I'm going to have to put this in, you know what I'm saying, the goddamn fucking, in the DaVinci machine and add some music over it and motherfucking cut down the part where, like, I fucked up. So it's cool. Not a major ordeal. We're going to keep going.
Now, it's your boy PSASITCHS here with another Sunday live stream with everyone's favorite Adam, friend and forever. And today, we're actually 2 minutes early. Oh my God. It's an atheist miracle. Praise whoever or no one. It doesn't matter. Anyways, today we're joined by our friends Sargon of Akkad and Dark Matter 2525. How are you gentlemen doing today?
Am I the only one who can hear the echo?
I don't know.
No, I don't hear an echo.
Sorry.
Yeah, I don't hear
It's
it.
all you.
It must be
You're
me
the
in the
boomer now,
background, yeah,
Sargon.
right.
You're the boomer now.
Sorry, I must have left it playing in the background.
Oh, oh my god.
Boomer moment.
Anyways, I'm sure everyone's familiar with Sargon. We've had you on the stream a million times, but in case anyone's living under a rock and is not familiar with you, Dark Matter, why don't you give a brief introduction of who you are and what you're all about?
I have a decent sized YouTube channel that I've been running for about 12 years now.
A million years.
Yeah, and the internet years, that's a pretty long time to be around. And I post pretty consistently about once a month. It takes me so long because all my videos are animations. And they're pretty much usually.
All right, Fridge, you're on the mic now. Oh, goddamn it, this motherfucker bounced, son of a bitch. Like, yo.
Yeah, he just jumped out.
All right, it's cool. All right, we're gonna keep banging on this video and shit. You know what I mean? Fucking, damn it, damn it, motherfucker, legit.
Keep it rolling.
We're gonna keep this shit rolling. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get to this point where we got to get to.
Usually critiques on religion. And mostly Christianity, because that's what have experience with, but I've also done Islam too. Pretty much all of the Abrahamic religions is what I focus on, and it's just your typical atheistic type arguments, and so occasionally I'll get into politics too, more so from a left-leaning perspective.
Cool.
Can I advertise your channel? Because I feel that I won't undersell it. Because I feel you're really underselling yourself there.
Okay.
No. Because seriously, John's videos are amazing, right? Because most people will just lay out their argument, but John effectively writes like atheist parables, where you tell a story and there's a really interesting lesson and critique in the story, and it's always a pleasure to watch. I haven't watched the most recent ones. But I used to watch loads of them, man. I used to absolutely adore them.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, John puts a lot of effort into his videos.
Our hype man. That's what we learned today.
I was teasing.
Hyping up stuff I like.
I was teasing Sargon before we started.
Like, let me say this, right? This guy in the upper right-hand corner, this cocksucker with the glasses, I want to punch him square in the motherfucking mouth. And on the video, he's going to be in the upper left-hand corner because I got it flipped around. Like, yo, I legit, I want to steal that dude's lunch money. I'll be honest with you. Like, yo, that's kind of, he is by far, like, and the dude on the, I guess he's going to be on the right for everybody on the video, but for DOKU, he's on the left because I have the video flipped around so I could use the video that I was fucking watching and shit, right? Legit, like, yo, the most boring human being in the history of the planet. I love PSASITCHS, and Sargon's a fucking moron, and he's an egotistical piece of shit. Just so we know where we are.
Tell me how you really feel.
Yo, I can't stand any of these. Like, legit, yo, PSASITCHS, I like. You know what I mean? I think we all like that dude. Everybody likes him. He's pretty cool. He does some decent work. You know, I mean, he did some great work. I used his shit on my video of fucking Black Israelites and shit.
Well, so all of that aside, I have to ask, annoyance and irritation aside, like, what do you disagree with when it comes to what they're actually saying?
Actually, a lot of it. Right. Sargon actually is, believe it or not, way closer to my feelings and beliefs about things than these two cocksuckers. Right? Because, all right, so again, we get back to these guys are still upset about their mom telling them that the fucking tooth fairy existed. Like, they really, really are when it comes down to it.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I'm curious just to your reasoning as to why. Like,
all right, so like here's my mentality as a man, right? As a grown adult male, you should be far past all the bullshit that happened with your parents, right? Like, you should be by a length of a football field, right? Be past the bullshit of your parents by the time you're 30 fucking years old, right? You should be done with their garbage. You shouldn't be worried about what they did to you, or you shouldn't be fucking, you know what I'm saying, like, still, like, fucking worried about shit that happened when you were a goddamn kid. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you should be far past all that bullshit. Now, granted, if you're like me and you come out with, you know what I'm saying, like an accent and, you know, fucking you're just hard knocks, all these type of things, right? Like, you have a culture behind you that, you know what I'm saying, is going to be portrayed later on. And you're going to have to explain that to people from time to time. Like, hey, look, I come from a rough neighborhood. This is how the fuck I came up. I'm from the Appalachians. You know, I grew up on fucking, you know, whatever, right? Chasing chickens and, you know, fuck shoveling coal and all the nonsense that comes with it. And that's fine. Right. You know what I mean? Because other people aren't going to be used to that. But these two here are prototypical, grew up in a homeowners association, fucking, you know, suburbanite, worthless fucks, right? Who legit they think that they're so far above everybody the fuck else. And Sargon does too, but at least Sargon's willing to admit it. You know what I mean? Sargon, like, yeah, you'll hear him here in a minute. He'll stand here and say some shit about it. And I go, I understand where he's at. You know what I mean? That's why I'm like, I get Sargon's mentality. But, like, as for everything the fuck else, like, I can't agree with their mentality towards religion and the fact that they're, I don't know, like, we'll get to it as we go through the goddamn video. You know what I'm saying?
Well, and so what you're saying is that these individuals have an elitist mentality, and their arrogance is showing.
No, they're Antifa is what they are.
I wasn't going to go there, but
they're
okay,
Antifa.
yeah, you're.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well,
like, look at the dude on the right hand side. What does he look like?
You're not wrong. I'm not going to disagree.
Right?
You're not wrong.
Like, yo, these are Antifa. You know what I mean? When it comes down to it, and that's the mentality, right? And that's the mentality that he has. There's not a lot of different. And again, like, when we just remember all this shit we just went through in the past, like, half hour or so, right? Remember all that shit we just talked about, right? He has no idea that this is the case, right? He has no clue.
And again, you're not wrong. And this is a bit of an aside, but I just want to say it for anybody that's listening. Antifa has a particular mentality because they do have a religious dogma that they adhere to. And they might not say it's religious, but it is a cultural Marxist mentality or viewpoint where you replace the idea of God with the idea of the state. That's what Antifa is.
Yo, look, we need to stop saying that. Legit, we need to stop saying that. Like, yo, look, that shit Marx came out of the progressive fucking movement. All right? Because the state was already religious.
Well, that's the whole point behind that idea is there's a set of ideals, there's a certain dogma that you adhere to. It's just where does the power reside? If it's not in a religious text, then it could be in something like the Constitution. And I'm going to actually point my fingers now at conservatives, myself included. I'm a constitutionalist.
Me too.
But when you start looking at the Constitution in the same context as it's, you know, a biblical text, you will fall into the same trap. Don't fall into that trap. It's like this idea, everybody is created equal. Everybody is the same. That's a lie. No one is created equal. You have your own personal set of attributes. You have things you're good at. You have things you're bad at. Not everybody is equal, and that's not a bad thing. Just recognize that harsh truth and get used to it. That's called reality.
Yo, you like
Antifa just takes this idea. Real quick, Antifa takes this idea like where you would normally look at something from a religious context. Antifa just replaced where that power lies, where that dogmatic mindset lies. It just happens to lie in a mindset where the government is bad, anarchy is good, communism is good. It's the same fucking dogmatic extremist bullshit that you're gonna find these same idiots saying, "Oh my God, we're fighting the fascists and the Nazis." You're the same fucking thing. You're fighting for the other team. There's nothing different about you than there is about fucking neo-Nazis or neocons or anything else. You're all fucking extremists, and you're all dangerous to a stable society.
Well, the point that I wanted to really like get down to with this, you know what I'm saying, and in particular, like because like Excel, like me, have like a difference of opinion on this, is that I wanted to get to the level of where we understand that these individuals are a fucking long-term problem that's always existed, right? This isn't something new. This isn't a new
you're not
thing,
wrong.
right? This is not something that hasn't existed for years, right?
No, you're not wrong at all. They're dogmatic extremists, and no matter what way you try to justify it, the fact that they're dogmatic extremists, they're dangerous to people who just want to go about their daily lives. You know what? I work 9 to 5. I have a job to do. I have kids. I have a wife. It's these type of dogmatic extremists, whether they're left or right leaning, that destroy the fabric of a well-functioning society. It's always been that way.
This is what happens when you have democracies. It is what it is. When you give people rights, this is what happens. No matter what country you're in, this is what's going to happen every fucking time, right? Like, it doesn't fucking matter. You know what I mean? Because, like, when you have rights and you don't have a religion is when you get this wokety woke nonsense. But, like, it's happened throughout time. And it's happened in our country. It happened, like, the 1920s and 30s and 10s and 1900s. Like, they called it the populist movement. And they called it the progressive. They called it the fucking progressive era, for fuck's sake. Right? Like, you have to understand that this has existed far longer than Marxism did. This is not Marxism.
Oh, yeah. And no, Marxism is just the newest iteration of the same thing. If we really want to boil it down, and I know this is a bit of an aside, so forgive me, but when you boil down what exactly is happening, you have a society that is in some way stable. It might have good things, it might have bad things, but you have a certain social structure that, for the most part, is working. If it's not working, guess what? You end up in a civil war. We haven't hit that point yet, but you do end up with these fringe elements, and like you said, when you give people rights, you do have that fringe element where, is the society working? Yes, it's working. But could it be better? Sure, I guess it could. Now, how are you going to go about enacting change? Well, that's where you start getting your extremist fringe elements, whether it's anarcho-communism or hardcore anarcho-capitalism or religious extremism. You're going to have those elements throughout society, and it's going to happen time and time again as long as you have a certain degree of freedom to express those type of ideologies. It's always going to happen. It's nothing new.
All right. And anyway, like, look, this video is 6 hours long. We're gonna go through about a half hour of it. That's my mentality. Like, so let's get banging on that. We're at the 2 minute 51 second mark. Let's get through some of this goddamn video. So we'll be back to break down some more here in a second.
Kick it off, man. Don't let me run.
Started that I look just like his icon now, so I could sabotage him if I wanted to, but now I don't think I'll do that since he complimented my videos. So.
It was all manipulation on Sargon's part. It was a ruse. He got into your mind. Okay. Awesome. Anyway, Adam, tell us, what exactly are we going to be talking about today?
Well, John and I had done a discussion recently that was pretty interesting, and Sargon had listened to it and responded to it on his channel, and he just wanted to maybe go a little bit deeper into that conversation. I think the crux of the argument that's kind of going around on our side is a question on whether or not religion can be replaced by some sort of secular alternative. And a lot of us feel a lot of us got into YouTube early on. We were part of the anti-theist movement. We realized religion was untrue, and that bothered us, and we started responding. Religion is a bit was a bit anti-LGBT. I think that bothered a lot of us. So we started critiquing religion. But now it seems that we've won, and we're kind of wondering if this new woke stuff, which has a lot of religious overtones to it, has kind of come in and replaced Christianity in not the most beneficial way. So I think we're really interested. A lot of us that are making videos and talking about this stuff are interested in whether or not there can be some sort of secular alternative to religion. So does that?
And this is why we're getting into this video, right? And this is why we watched that video before this, to understand exactly what's going on, right? This dude here, first off, is the most boring cocksucker I've ever heard in my entire life. Like, he just made me want to steal his lunch money even more. But secondly, like, yo, this is not a replacement of religion. This is a growth of religion. That's all this is. This is one sect of the church, motherfucking growing to consume the rest and ending up being the winner out of all the goddamn religions. Because it's happened throughout time. You had Catholicism, and then Martin Luther King, then you had Martin Luther come through, and I mean, it formed Protestantism, and then fucking Protestantism fucking sat here and turned into Presbyterianism and Baptism and all these things, that became different churches throughout the world, and throughout the United States. And now what you have is this super sect of progressivism, and really the Protestant church is all that's left, because this Catholicism, let's be honest, unless you're talking to somebody who is of one of the Latin races, which is Italian, Spanish, and any of the individuals who would be called Latinx, right? Which is anybody south of the United States. It's all, all white people and all Western religions for the most part. People who are considered white are all, part of the Protestant church, really, when it comes down to it, or an offshoot of the Protestant church. I don't know if DOKU's still there or not. You still there, DOKU?
Yeah, I'm here, man. Ed, is something to point out about this, whether you're looking at it from a social context or a religious context. You have to recognize that without followers, without a group of people that believe in said ideology, the ideology itself has no power. And when you start looking at this, how it's affected things as it's progressed, like, we can look at it from a religious context where there are different churches that have sprung up because there's a human being, there's a certain individual that has a certain set of beliefs, and they put out their message, and people buy into it, they believe it. Without that mindset, and this is what irritates me about I know I'm getting off the rails a little bit, so I apologize.
You're good. Go ahead.
Without that type of following, whether you are Christian, conservative, liberal, progressive, atheist, it doesn't matter. Without having that type of following, without people who believe in what your message is, it has no fucking power. It's when you get into this idea where everybody believes everything because they dogmatically, blindly believe what you preach, then you start running into problems. Because at the end of the day, none of these systems are perfect. Intentionally or unintentionally, I would like to be naive, and I know it's naive, I'll openly admit it. I would like to believe that there is good intention behind it. That said, it's very easy for someone to become an extremist regardless of what dogma you actually hold. So you can look at conservatives, you can look at progressives, you can look at throw a fucking dart at the dartboard. If you blindly believe something and you don't actually think about it, you just believe it because you believe it, you're going to ultimately end up with a situation where it's gonna turn south. It's gonna be bad. It's not going to help anybody. It's gonna make you look like a jackass. It's gonna destroy society. No one's gonna benefit from it. And it's all for the sake of what? Because you blindly believe in this dogma so much that you're willing to sacrifice the betterment of society simply because that's what you believe? Okay, that's fine. I appreciate the fact that you're willing to stand by your convictions. That's respectable. That being said, you're an idiot for not questioning what you believe and trying to at least work through what works and what doesn't. Introspection is a good thing. The same way, let's look at the progressive movement. They have
adjust your
problems.
phone and shit, man.
All right, testing.
All right, you're good. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine, man.
You're on a roll. You're on a roll, man. I don't want fucking motherfuckers to hear you going. You know what I mean?
No, I appreciate you letting me know when Comcast decides to be a dick. But let's look at the progressive movement, where you have a group of individuals who think words are literal violence. Punching somebody in the face is just as bad as saying there's only two of a certain biological thing between your legs.
Okay.
I'm saying that
hang
for a
on.
reason.
Hang on. Like here's the part that again, you have to this is all right. Tom Pease always gets down to the base root of the problem, right? I want to get down to what the fuck is causing this, all right? When your heads blow out on a car, right? When your heads warp and you end up with fucking coolant in your oil and you end up, you know what I'm saying? Having your motor all fucked up. You can fix the heads all you want to, but if you don't replace the thermostat that overheated your fucking motor that warped your heads, you're not solving the fucking problem. And that thermostat is a tiny little part that costs $4. All right? So what you have to understand is that mentality, legit, that mentality of words are violence, all right? It's because the progressive movement, and it started in the church. It comes from women, right, who don't want to hear mean things. Legit, they would rather have a fucking war. They would rather us get nuked and take that risk long term than right now have to hear President Donald Trump say the China virus, right? Legit. Rather than hear him say, well, you just grab him by the pussy. Rather than have that in office, they would have rather us fucking had a hard stance against Russia and literally went to war against Russia, who has more nukes than anybody else on the planet. You have to understand this fucking fact. It's a very, very basic thing, and it's hard to fucking grasp that. But what you got to understand is the churches, for as long as I can remember, and during the progressive movement, what happened during the progressive era in the church, or progressive era in America, right? What happened? They had the United States ended up standing here giving women rights and putting in fucking prohibition. Those were two things that came out of the progressive fucking era. All right? And those were big fucking things. And why do we have prohibition? Because women were tired of men getting drunk. All right? We had speech codes put in. We had fucking Jim Crow laws put in during the progressive era. So progressive. Understand something. All right? These women, legitimately, these women would rather a man hang than admit that they fucked a black man on their own accord.
On I would actually pull on that thread a little bit more, because as much as I hate to admit this, there are men in our society as it stands today who are of the same mindset. I'm not going to say it's something as simple as just what's between your legs, but it is a mentality where individuals would rather act on emotion. Whether it's logical or not is irrelevant, but they're going to act on emotion, and they're going to make their decisions based on that emotional reaction. And that's why we're seeing the problems that we're seeing now. So yeah, I might say something mean on the internet. That's fine. Me and you have been at it before, Pnoid. Do I get upset because we disagree or you say something mean to me? No, I don't give a flying fuck.
Yo, look, man, legit, I invited fucking Max Colby on tonight, right? Max is a dude from the Red Pill movie, right? Who has gotten so lost in a rabbit hole of fucking conspiracy theories that I've made 4 or 5 videos just about him. I invited him on tonight.
See, that's the thing. This is where I'm going with this. A lot of people get lost in this emotional quagmire where they don't like something, whether you're pro Trump or you're part of the resistance. It doesn't matter. What matters is the fact that you're acting on emotion and you're not thinking about things logically. You're not willing to put your emotion aside and figure out, okay, is this good or is this bad? No, it's the idea of tribalism, orange man bad or I'm with her bad. None of that fucking matters. What matters is the fact that you're so incredibly adherent to a specific type of dogma that you can't see the forest for the trees. You can't look at your own mug in the fucking mirror and realize, maybe some of the things that I'm saying are good, but maybe some of the things that I'm saying or what I'm supporting is also bad. Maybe I should take a step back and actually think, what is actually beneficial to society, what is actually helping me, and what isn't. That's something that we've lost, and it's rather disturbing because the more and more we go down this rabbit hole, the more vehemently dogmatic, aggressive that we get with the extremes. There's no helping it. I look at people like Tim Pool, it's like, oh, we're getting close to a civil war. 2 years ago, I would say he's an idiot. Honestly, he might have a point. We might be getting that close simply because people are unwilling to admit that, hey, maybe I'm not in the right here. Maybe I should reevaluate my stance or my situation. Maybe I'm actually fucking wrong. And yeah, let's say I have the balls to admit I'm wrong. Most people won't fucking do that because they can't. And it's almost become a mark of shame to admit that I understand why someone thinks the way that they do. I don't have to agree with them, but I understand why they hold that viewpoint. If you were to say that, and I do push this on the progressives more than I do the conservatives, because most conservatives I see are at least willing to listen. But God forbid that you're a progressive and say, I can kind of understand why somebody might want, a vetting process when it comes to immigration. God forbid you do that, because what does the progressive movement do? They eat their own. They will destroy you. They do not like anyone moving out of lockstep. They do not like dissent. They do not like diversity of opinion or thought. They are a dogmatic, extremist, fringe ideology. And if you so much as blink the wrong way, they will destroy you. Whether you're on their side or not, they don't care. And that's why the progressive movement is, at this point in time, is so dangerous. because they are so incredibly dogmatic and closed-minded. They're the same people that sit there and think only white people can be racist. But then they can turn around
again, like, yo, what I'm doing right now, at this moment, all right, what we're doing right now is we're showing why. The why is more important than the fact that it's happening 90% of the time.
I agree with you, because if you don't point it out, then who's going to? I mean, they can attack me and you. They'll say we're neo-Nazis and this and that. None of it changed. None of that. Whatever they can say is going to change the fact that what we're telling you is true. You don't have to agree with it, but it's not going to change the fact that it's the truth.
Well, I'm changing my shit. I was an Appalachian mud gorilla. I am now an Appalachian river gorilla. All right, I'm changing my mentality right now. Right, that's gonna be my new thing. I'm an Appalachian river gorilla. All right, and I want to say that, legit, I don't give a fuck what they say. Like, I don't really care what they call me. Motherfuckers can call me what they want. Legit. You know what I mean? As far as I'm concerned, I give a fuck less about the bullshit. You know what I mean? But I wanted to stand here and show the why that shit is happening more than I wanted to stand here and show that it is. You know what I mean? And I don't want to stand here and bag on the other side. I want not just us, but them to understand that this is a religious viewpoint. And you're not going to live without a fucking religion. I don't give a fuck where you are or who you are. You're not going to do it. And we're going to keep going on this video because there's a lot of really important points to get to with this shit. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep rocking. You know what I mean? And I got some like really strong ass shit coming up for this motherfucking video as far as things are really concerned. So we're going to keep going.
Yeah, kick it off, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think wokeness is the secular alternative to religion.
Okay.
I think at least philosophically, it's quite easily demonstrable, actually.
So, go ahead, John.
I do have a little bit of a problem with the premise, though, in that we've essentially won. Like I recently looked at a Pew study that showed about a third of Americans don't believe that human beings evolved, so they're creationists, basically. That's 100 million people.
That's crazy.
I don't think that we won by any stretch of the imagination. I think what we did was we created a bubble online that makes it look like we won.
Well, I mean, another way of looking at that is that 2/3 of people do believe we evolved.
Yeah, that's true. But
if I were an evangelical, I'd be like, holy shit, we've been crushed,
But I think that that's such a huge number that it's still very concerning, because they can have a tremendous effect on our politics, on what.
Yeah, I just want to say, all right, legit, I don't give a fuck. All right, that a third of Americans believe that we evolved. All right, because like 50% of the voting public voted for Hillary Clinton in the last goddamn election. Legit, you know what I'm saying? When it comes down to it, so like I am more concerned with the fact that more people vote for goddamn motherfucking America's Got Talent than vote in our general fucking elections. I just want to say that is way more concerning, all right, than the fact that, a third of Americans don't believe that fucking evolution is a real thing. I don't really care. That doesn't really affect anything. It doesn't fucking matter when it comes down to it. And ultimately, you can explain to people, hey, look, if you were brought up in a certain neck of the woods and your family comes from a certain neck of the woods, this is, what, like the fucking problems are that affect you. They say black people are more affected by coronavirus. Like, yeah, black people have a vitamin D deficiency. And if you have a vitamin D deficiency, it's highly predictable that you're going to have a harder time fighting off any disease, let alone the fucking coronavirus when it comes down to it. So this is something that we don't really have conversations about. But, you know, you got to have these conversations in order to even begin to talk about any of the bullshit that comes with, you know what I'm saying, fucking standing here talking about goddamn evolution. Because as an in general motherfucking country, we don't talk about evolution as a whole because we're very, you know, I mean, libertarian and individualistic. You know what I'm saying? That's kind of where I'm at. And I don't really give a shit if people don't buy into the tenets of science, because evolution has been interrupted recently, you know what I mean, with new discoveries of fucking hominids that didn't exist before. So, you know, like, that's really where everything is. You know, like, fuck them. Anyway, we're going to keep banging.
On what
I don't.
they can far more easily spread their ideas than say secular atheists can, who are like what 3%, maybe 3 to 5% of the population. Although, you know, there's probably a lot more people who are just nuns who maybe they believe in a God, but they're just not religious.
Yeah.
And another thing that I want to kind of lock down before we go much farther is to clearly define what we mean by woke, because I see it used in so many different ways that I don't know if everyone's on board with the same thing, you know, what they're talking about.
Well, I would define it as someone who promotes intersectional social justice. So what? Okay. So
I think you have to define that term now.
Sure. It's the politics of group power relations based on identity categories that I'm sure you are all familiar with. And pushing back on these identity categories is called racism, homophobia, sexism, etc., etc.
This idea of intersectionality, as far as I'm aware, is that it's the idea that if you have like multiple like minority statuses, for instance, if you're Black and you're a lesbian, then you're going to have two different ways in which you're discriminated against, and that could have like a compounding factor where you don't only have to worry about racism, but you also have to worry about, you know, anti-gay bigotry. So
I think it's worth really hammering this out, because this is insufferably difficult, because essentially the terms racism, etc. I'll just use racism as the stock one, but you know what I mean when I'm saying this, right?
Yeah.
It's essentially a modern base.
Yo, Doku, me and you are pretty much going to agree about the majority of what's being said at this goddamn point. Am I right?
You're not wrong.
All right, just so like everybody understands, like there's a reason I'm letting this motherfucker play, because like I want to get through like 30 minutes of this video, and you know, fucking like this is just shit. I'm like, yeah, whatever. We're just going through definitions at this fucking point. You know what I mean? Before they have this goddamn conversation. You know what I mean? But I want to say, the dude in your upper right, in our upper left, he's boring as shit too. Like, yo, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, man.
He is, to say he's irritating would be a compliment.
Yo, yeah. Just boring as fuck when it comes down to it. But we're gonna keep rocking.
It's essentially a Mott and Bailey argument that's being used, and it's really annoying because like, for example, I'm doing a study on white fragility at the moment, the book by Robin DiAngelo, which is essentially a codification of all of these things. And racism has two definitions to her. The first is what I'll just call intrinsic racism, which is racism that happens inside a person's head. It's what they think, and that informs how they act. The second kind of racism is the political, economic, and social structures that have been created by white people. So that would be constitutional republicanism, common law, Anything that you think that can be described as invented for and by and for white people can be considered to be a form of racism, and that's the nefariousness of wokeism. That's why they hate the United States, and that's why everything about the United States is just evil in their view. I don't agree with this because I think that this essentially is the Richard Spencer view of races. The premise that essentially underpins both Robin DiAngelo and Richard Spencer is, and I don't really know how to say this in a polite way, because it's essentially that the non-white people can't be like the white people. That's basically what she's getting at and what he's getting at. And I really disagree with this. As someone of like a mixed race heritage, whose grandfather came here from St. Helena and who absolutely adored England when he came here and, totally integrated, I think they're just completely wrong. And so I always define racism as procedural, the intrinsic racism, rather than the extrinsic objective systems of structural oppression, things that happen outside of the person.
Is it that is she saying that they can't be like white people, or that they're expected to be and they don't want to be?
Yeah, that's basically it. It basically boils down to can't, because she believes that these cultures don't value the same things that we value, and therefore we're being racist when we expect them to value the things that we value.
Well, she's saying they can't, like, biologically, or that she's kind of taking a cultural relativism
in biological race.
Right. She's saying like they shouldn't have to, because their cultures, there's no such thing as a better culture. Is what she's saying.
She never uses the word culture. She always uses the word race.
Really?
I think that there's yeah, absolutely. I personally find that really disgusting, because I think the race is biological. I mean, that's how we get different skin color and stuff like this. But I don't think that culture is tied directly, and I don't think it's deterministic. I think that you raise a European.
I mean, me and you could make the argument that fucking race is deterministic, right, of fucking culture oftentimes, just due to the fact that individuals, they stand here and they have inherent traits that will make them act differently than other people as far as shit is concerned. Then like for instance, if you take I don't know, fucking somebody who is of Russian descent, right? And you place them among individuals of Japanese descent. That Russian he may grow up Japanese in his culture, but ultimately he's going to have a much harder time controlling himself.
Well, and that is inherently true. When you look at cultures and upbringing, there is something that you have to recognize when it comes to you've lived in a certain place, you have a certain history for a long enough period of time. It is ingrained in you. Someone who is Indian, they're Indian. Someone who is Japanese. Someone who is Chinese is Chinese. Someone who's Russian is Russian. We can go down the list. There is a certain degree of people of a certain ethnicity, of a certain background, are going to have that ingrained in them. And ironically enough, this is something the progressives realize and exploit to, admittedly, I'll give them credit, a very effective degree, because they realize when you check a certain level of check boxes, you're going to appeal to a certain demographic. Because someone identifies as this or that, you know how to appeal to that. Let's be honest. I know, Pnoid, I know you identify as a certain thing that shapes you as a person. The same way that my background, my history, shapes me as a person. You can't ignore that. But there's nothing wrong with it either. It's
I mean, like yo,
well,
it ultimately comes down to, and like when you were speaking, I was thinking of Indian individuals, right? And I was thinking of like a problem I'm going through at the moment as a human being, right? Indians, like I always say, like I prefer an Indian doctor, right? Because if you made it out of a billion people and you're the one who came to America and you speak two languages and you know what I'm saying, you're the one who got approved, I want you. You know what I'm saying? Because you're top of the fucking pack of a billion people to fucking get here, right? I like that. And I want that. Could you imagine that motherfucker, somebody looking at that dude and going, "You're a victim," right?
and that's the ironic part about everything is, what the progressive movement looks at is because you're of a certain demographic, because you're of a, you fit a certain checkbox. Oh my God, you happen to you're victimized. No, you're not. Like, no, you're not.
Well, like again, like
It,
I'm going through this right now in my head, right, as an in general thing because like I've earned everything I've ever got in my life. I've never been given dick ever. You know what I'm saying? Like every scrap that I've ever eaten, it's been putting in my fucking stomach since I was a kid has been something that I've had something to do with. And with that mentality, it's hard for me to accept free shit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's extremely hard for an individual like me to lay back and let somebody else take care of me. Like I can't fucking do that shit. And it makes it hard to be in a relationship with another individual because you're kind of on that mental where you go, fuck that. I don't want your free shit. I want, what I'm saying, like to be standing here and be strong and handle my business and do what I got to do. And that's kind of my mentality that I get to with motherfucking people. And this is the shit that, you know what I'm saying? Like, as a man, it's hard to understand how dudes get to this level, right? When you're addressing yourself and you go, "What up, king?" You know what I'm saying? As they motherfucking stand here doing the black community, how do you feel as though you're a king, but you're fucking below and affected by other individuals above you? And that's where this religion really takes a hold of individuals through that conspiratorial fucking level and shit. It's really a belief structure when it really boils down to everything concerned. But yo, we're gonna keep banging because we only got like fucking 19 minutes left of this fucking garbage. So we're gonna keep trying at this shit.
our I'm not going to enjoy it, but
I know.
go ahead and
Me too.
carry
In
on.
Japan, they're going to speak Japanese, think Japanese, act Japanese.
Right,
They're
of
going to be
course.
Japanese.
Right.
So I disagree with her view on race. I do think it's biological, but I mean that doesn't matter. I don't give a shit. I'm not a biological determinist or anything like that. But that's how she views the world. And that's essentially what wokeism is. It's looking at the world through the lens of racial power politics and assuming that the white people are on top because they're somehow better and their culture is innately oppressive because it requires certain kind of behaviors and attitudes and standards that other cultures don't have, and it's not that they can't, I think, but I don't know why. I mean, she's not very clear on why we can't just.
All right. So I believe that you would probably want to address that.
In a way I do, and in a way I don't. It's
Come on, just talk. I know you want to address that.
this whole video, this whole exchange is incredibly frustrating because despite all the semantics that they want to go into, the this and the that, there's a fundamental underlying mindset that they're not they're dancing around it, and it's really starting to piss me off. Like, let's cut through the bullshit and let's actually fucking talk about what the issue at hand is. We can listen to these idiots talk for 5 fucking hours and they still won't get around to the fucking primary problem. The primary problem is that there is a mindset. There is a segment of the population that holds this idea that because you are such a thing, you're supposed to be said thing. No, wrong. That is fundamentally the stupidest mindset you could fucking have, and I'm about to rant. So yeah, buckle up, boys and
Handle your
girls.
business. I knew, like, yo, I know you want to fucking fire off on this nonsense. Go ahead, dude.
Yeah,
Do your thing.
and I'm about to do it. So buckle up, fucking boys and girls, because I do not give a flying fuck about your feelings at this point in time. This shit is annoying.
Buckle
I
up,
hate
buckaroos.
I hate this fucking entitlement mentality. This idea of, well, I'm this, so therefore, A, therefore B. No, no, you're not. You are who you are. If you can't fucking come to terms with that, that's a fucking personal problem, and you need to fucking deal with it before you start pointing fingers at other people and blaming them for your own shortcomings. Whether you're white, black, blue, green, purple, no one fucking cares. You know what you need to do? Take your fucking head out of your ass, stop blaming society for your own shortcomings and your own problems, and do something with your life and actually be productive. You will be successful and you will be happier if you stop pointing fingers at people, blaming everybody else for your own problems. It's a really fucking simple concept, but it's easier for people to sit there and blame everybody else because, well, I was born poor, I only ate Kraft cheese and I didn't have the deli slices. No one cares about your shortcomings. No one cares about the fact that you grew up poor. No one cares about the fact that you're fucking religious, agnostic, atheist. No one cares about that shit. Get your head out of your ass. Go ahead and do something productive with your life and stop blaming other people. When you do that, guess what? Not only will other people work with you and start respecting you because you're willing to actually do something productive, you'll actually make it further in life and you will actually be successful. You will make money. All of these people who are sitting there telling you that you're oppressed, you need to do this, you need to do that. Just let us help you. No, screw them. You want to know why they want you to believe that? It's because you're a useful idiot to them. They are going to sit there and use you. They're going to sit there and make you believe this type of mindset, this type of mentality where you can't do anything on your own, but let me help you. I have money, I have resources, I have contacts, I have connections. Let me help you. You're too pathetic, you're too weak, you're too poor. You grew up, you have the wrong skin color, you have the wrong education. I can help you be successful. Screw those people. They're using you. They're using you to better themselves, but they're sure as fuck not doing it to make you a better person. The only person who can make you better is you. If you're relying on these fucking morons, these grifters, these people who are going to do nothing for you, nothing for your family, nothing for your children, nothing for your parents, nothing for your grandparents, if you're relying on them, you're either naive, you're an idiot, you're a fool, or you're all of the above. Don't believe these people. They are your worst enemy. The only friend you have is yourself. Even your own parents would throw you to the fucking wolves. When you look at these progressives, this mentality of you're oppressed, you're black, you're Hispanic. Oh my God, the world's against you, society's against you. There's systematic this and systematic that. No, you're being led astray. You're being taught, manipulated, and conditioned to think that you're weak. And if you believe that shit, then guess what? I hate to break it to you, but here's the harsh fucking reality about it. If you believe this nonsense and you actually buy into it and you let these people lead you around like a fucking dog on a leash, then guess what? You are weak. You are fucking weak as shit if you let these fucking people lead you around, leading you to believe that you can't fucking do better for yourself and you need someone else to come and fucking help you and save you. You're not even a sheep. You are a fucking pathetic little fucking fish out of water. If you need someone to help you and you can't help yourself, you're fucking weak and pathetic. And you know what? Whatever fucking happens to you, you fucking deserve. Get your head out of your ass. Stop relying on other people to fucking help you, and go ahead and take the fucking bull by the goddamn horns. Stop pretending that the world is fucking against you. Because you know what? The world is against everyone. It's not fair. It never was. It never has been. That is the fucking number one fucking fallacy that these idiots don't understand. The world isn't fucking fair. No one was fucking created equal. And if you want something out of this world, if you're willing to fucking fight for it, then get off your fucking ass and do it. But don't sit there and complain and bitch and moan and point fingers at other people because they didn't give you a free fucking pass. If you want something, fucking get off your ass and fight for it. But if you can't do that, if you're not willing to do that, then don't sit there and point fingers at other fucking people because you're so unwilling to fucking fight for what you want. It's not going to be handed to you on a fucking silver platter. If you can't fucking realize that, then guess what? I'm not going to be there to fucking help you. Pnoid's not going to be there to fucking help you. Dodge is not going to be there to fucking help you. No one is going to fucking help you if you're not willing to fucking help yourself. So you better fucking realize that really goddamn quick. Because if you can't, guess what? You're nothing more than a fucking useful idiot that is going to be thrown to the fucking wolves. That is the fucking truth.
Shout out
The
Mad
world
Dodge.
is not fucking fair.
Shout out Mad Dodge, my brother. Know what I'm saying? Like, make sure y'all are subbed to Mad Dodge Productions and shit. Anyway, like, I feel where you are. I do. I feel completely where you're at. But again,
dude, I'm not
12
gonna lie.
minutes.
I'm fucking
We're at 12
mad.
minutes. We're at
I'm
12
pissed.
minutes. We're at 12 minutes. I got more to make you mad. All right, just calm
All
the
right,
fuck down.
kick
We
it-
got
kick
more
it off.
stuff.
Let's keep
we
going.
got more stuff. We got more stuff.
All right, kick it off. Let's keep going.
Europeans, and I don't really, she's not clear on it, but then this whole thing's a goddamn giant muddle that's ruining everything. I think, is that clear enough?
I guess I'm not familiar with her work. I just recently talked to two of my friends who read her book, who are both pretty left leaning, and they both did not like the book. And so I'm just, as somebody who is ignorant about it, I'm inclined to be biased against it, just because I usually agree with these two friends quite a bit. And so I probably wouldn't like it either. But
oh yeah. I mean, I imagine you view racism as something people do, right?
Yeah. I think that as far as culture goes, like if the premise, if the premise is that a culture that's predominantly white is built, and that therefore it cannot benefit people who aren't white. I think that's a flawed premise. I think that just the race of someone who builds something doesn't speak to whether or not it can or cannot work for somebody who isn't white. I think that we have to still take care that it isn't that it isn't biased in favor of white people, but also that it can work for people who aren't white.
But there's a you believe that it can work for people who aren't white, and she pretty much doesn't. She doesn't really believe that they can work for non-white people. That's why it's called a white supremacy, even though it can have a black president, even though it can have various cities that are just like staffed top to bottom with black people who are running the show. That it's the structure of the system was designed by white people, theoretically for white people, and therefore that's.
All right, so excuse me. Let me get into this, right? Let me dig into this mentality real quick, because here's the thing. One of our biggest problems we have in our society as a whole is television, right? And why do I say that? Because on television, what you watch is families and people who have money. Right? You watch these individuals who basically have all the resources in the world, and you never see any work for it. You assume that everybody lives in this manner. And let me tell you something. I travel across this country on a regular basis. All right. I go all over the place. I go through the Northeast. I go through the Midwest. I go through the South. Right? I don't get out southwest or into the west coast, but like, you know, that covers a good portion of this fucking country when it really comes down to it. And I've been, you know, as far south as the Gulf of Mexico. You know what I mean? I've been through Texas and shit. And let me tell you like this, right? The vast majority of people live in fucking abject poverty. All right? And these things that you see coming through your picture boxes at night are not prototypical of the people who live in this country. They're prototypical of the producers and the writers and the directors and where they came from. And what you have to understand, legit, as this welfare state from, you know, I mean, Lyndon Johnson and Camelot started winding up and printing more money over and over again, your currency became more worthless. And as it did, more women entered the workforce. And as they did, you ended up with having more workers and your money being more worthless. And as your pay continued to stay the same or go down, the quality of life for the average citizen in this country has gone down. Now, most of these individuals who, you know, these people are coming from saw their parents having a good life because they grew up in the 80s, they grew up in the 70s and 60s or 80s, whatever the case might have been, when money was much stronger and your pay was much better. And these individuals were able to afford houses in suburbia and raise their kids in a safe environment and give them the opportunity to go to college and do all the things that they wanted to do. But the thing is that today that isn't the case anymore. It's very, very hard for any individual to be able to afford a home. I'm going to tell you like this, and this was not long ago, right? In the year 1995, the average home price was $125,000. $125,000. Today, the average home price is north of $350,000. The take-home pay on average in 1995 was $32,000. The average take-home pay today is $38,000. There's a huge disparity between how much things cost and how much you have available to spend and how much you're making. This is a problem that we're not addressing due to the fact that we think social programs and printing money is a good idea. I'm here to stand here and explain why things are happening the way they're happening. That's what I'm here to do. I'm not here to stand here and address your stupid fucking issues because you're a fucking idiot. All right? No, I'm not talking to DOKU, but just in general. All right? I'm here to tell you why things are happening the way they are. And to give you a history lesson and bring you back so you understand where all this shit comes from and why they think they're entitled to something. It's important we understand why, because if we don't understand why, we'll never be able to defeat our enemy. If you don't know why they're going to war with you, what makes you think you'll ever be able to defeat them? That's something that nobody really understands. DOKU, you good with that?
No, you're not wrong. That's something I've been saying for a long fucking time. All of these people who sit there and think, well, I should be entitled to the American dream. I should have, like people like Andrew Yang sitting there, we should have universal basic income. Or people like Bernie Sanders, we should have universal health care. Okay, so you want universal basic income. You want universal health care. And you expect the government to provide that for you? let me break it down to you. As someone who fucking used to work for the Department of State, I was managing Department of State shipments, ambassadors, and their employees, going domestically and internationally. You want to know how much money we charged them? It was a whole hell of a lot more because we had to pay the government employees. If we could just do the business of our own accord, it would have been 50%, 70% cheaper, depending on where it's going. But the fact that we have to pay the government to do it, the fact that we have to sit there and pay some auditor who comes in and says, I see that you sent this package to Los Nogales and then it's going to Paris 2 months from now. We're going to audit you. You know where your tax dollars are going? To pay that person who doesn't even need to be auditing us in the first place because the package is already in fucking Paris. They don't have a reason to go ahead and audit us. You're paying money so that someone somewhere can justify their existence, and it's costing you more money than it needs to. That's money that you could use to pay for your health care. What do you want? Do you want to keep that money in your pocket so that you can pay for your health care? Or do you want to pay the person like me who's sitting there and saying, yeah, I actually have to do this because the government fucking requires me to do it? What do you want? You want the fucking government to come in and say, well, here's your health care, here's your Medicare, here's your fucking Medicaid, all of that shit that you're paying for, that welfare state fucking thing that is gonna fucking save you? You're paying an exorbitant amount of money for it. Wouldn't you rather have that money in your pocket?
No, they wouldn't because they don't have fucking jobs. So let's keep going.
See,
Let's
that's
keep
the
going.
problem with the welfare state.
Yeah, this is gonna make you madder as we go through. I promise.
You're
Therefore, that's
trying to
what
drag
makes
me
it
to
white
turning point.
supremacy.
All right, kick it.
Now, I do think that it's possible for somebody who isn't white to like, I think it's possible for a black person to be racist against other black people. I think that's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but you see racism as a belief that can manifest as an action, so it's intrinsic.
Yeah,
And I agree. Through that definition, anyone could be a racist,
right.
and a lot of
right.
people are. It doesn't. But through the idea of systemic structures and institutional oppression, that means that, I mean, she literally says only white people are in a position to deny black people their human rights. And I'm thinking of some of the videos I've seen going around, where there's like 20 black kids jumping on the head of this one white kid, and I'm like, oh, good thing they they can't be racist to you, buddy. Good thing they're not denying you your human rights institutionally, or else you might be in trouble. You know what I mean? It's like it's
yeah,
awful.
I mean, it's like different kinds of racism that people are talking about. People are talking about racism on a personal level versus on an institutional level, and they kind of get conflated sometimes.
Yeah.
I have a question, because it sounds like we're all kind of in agreement on being against woke culture, or not enthusiastic about woke culture, especially the Robin DiAngelo stuff, which is promising. I hope a lot of people feel that way. My question really is just because we're not a part of that culture, we very much can see that culture affecting the world around us in the way that we might have once seen Christianity affecting the world around us. And my big question is, we have tried, well, the anti-theists in particular, I consider myself a pro-theist atheist, but the anti-theists in particular have tried to minimize the impact of religion. And my question is like the woke stuff coming in to replace that need people have for belonging to a community, for moralizing, for condemning outsiders, all that stuff that we didn't like in Christianity? Is the woke stuff coming in and kind of replacing that urge that people have as an untested religion? It's some religion that hasn't been through this evolutionary cycle that Christianity has been through.
I would say yes to this, and I think that the way I would approach it is by looking at imperatives, moral imperatives, because that's really, I think, the real value of religion is in helping people who may not be the brightest tools in the box, sharpest tools in the box, sorry, to figure out what they should do, because I think it all comes down to what should you do, and the alternative, like religion's a useful tool in this regard because it effectively puts the author of the imperative in an unassailable position. God said this, therefore you shut up and do it. You don't need to think about this.
Yo, at least Sargon admits, you know what I'm saying, that he feels like he's smarter than everybody else around him.
Yeah, I'll give him that. If you're gonna be pretentious, at least admit the fact that you're pretentious. I'll give him credit where credit's due. That's fine.
I think that's important. You know what I'm saying? That we get to that level where we go, at least if you're gonna be a dick, be honest about being a dick. I can at least respect that. You know what I mean? But like, everybody else is like a piece of shit about this nonsense. So we're going to keep going because there's more shit to aggravate everybody.
But for a lot of people, I think that's useful and might be necessary. Whereas with the sort of woke social justice view of just morality, you can see that every single one of them is what we could call a moral legislator, someone who gets to set a morality using whatever axioms for the culture that's being expressed. In this case, it's wokeism. But you can start from the woke position and look at what's happening, look at the sort of logical structure of it, and then advance an argument from that position. This is why you get such a tendency towards the sort of circular firing squad in the woke culture. It's very easy because if someone deviates from what could be considered to be moral perfection, then it's very easy for someone to say, well, I'm superior to you, I'm a better person than you, because I can see that you should have X when you instead Y. And therefore that person loses their moral authority, and other people can agree with it, and how the mob goes. So that's the sort of different paradigms that you're operating with. Whereas before, you'd get only priests who would be the interpreters of the moral authority of God. Now anyone can be the moral authority of the new religion.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that the notion of God in the Bible carries with it a much more authoritarian, strict. Like this is it's written. This is the dogma. Yeah. I think that with so-called wokeism or whatever, that it's not as set in stone. It's not like this woman's book. What is her name? Robin DiAngelo. Yeah. I don't see that as like a Bible. I see a lot of people disagreeing with it. I see. I just see much less of a chance for advantage being taken, like of just using this as like an avenue toward authoritarianism. I don't think it's as prevalent as religion. I think what it often seems to me is.
Go ahead, Doku. I know your head's gonna explode if you don't say some shit right now.
Just like, you go first because I think I might have bit my tongue hard enough that it's actually bleeding.
Did he literally just say that there's less of a chance of individuals taking advantage of it like a goddamn religion?
Yeah.
As Nike runs Black Lives Matter ads. Yep.
I honestly, I actually, at this point in time, I'm actually not pissed. I'm shaking my head. Like, you can't be this fucking stupid. Right. It's ironic as hell when you pause the video earlier. Oh, yeah, I think I'm smarter than everyone. And then you turn around and someone says some shit like that. Like, are you fucking kidding me?
No. That was Sargon did not say the ridiculous shit that this retarded motherfucker just said.
No, I know, and that's my point. The fact that you could hear Sargon say like, "Well, I think I'm smarter than," and this guy turns around with that. Like, you're proving Sargon's point. You're an idiot. Oh my
This guy, legit. Like, this is why, legit. Like, I'm standing here doing this video, right? Because this guy's a fucking idiot. I want to know, like, if this guy has more than fucking like 50 subs, he bought them. Legit.
Pete, you know, you're torturing me having to listen to this guy because I have yet to hear a good idea come out of this guy's mouth.
Yo, look. I've never addressed the fact that you have 5,000 Twitter followers, right? I've never addressed that in my life because I love you. You know what I'm saying? You're my boy, and I respect the shit out of you, right? And I understand why. This dude, when I heard him come out of his goddamn mouth, I was like, how is this nigga on a stream with PSASITCHS and Sargon and Tom Pease can't get an audience with anybody? You know what I mean? The only person who will give me any love is TFM.
And dude, to be honest, as you shouldn't. Like, my Twitter following, I got that simply because apparently people like what I have to say. Why, I don't know. That's their prerogative. I really don't care.
I think you are well deserving of it, is my mentality, right? Because
you know what, I appreciate that. But I agree with you on this, where how the hell did this guy get on PSASITCH's stream with Sargon? What?
Like, I have,
Bro,
I got 2,300 subs on goddamn YouTube and shit, right? You know what I mean? And, like, granted, I'm as big as, if not bigger than everybody else in our little neck of the woods, right? I'm the big dog on campus as far as shit is concerned. But I sold out to get there. Like, yeah.
Hey, you know what, man? Sometimes you have to do certain things to get your voice out there.
I know the deal. I'm throttled heavily by YouTube. Hopefully this brings us up. That's why I'm gonna cut some shit out of this bitch, and I'm gonna chop it down properly. You know what I mean? Like, I had some dead air and shit where, like, fucking my where, like, I couldn't get the new video up, right? And you were, like, over here doing whatever the fuck you were doing. But yeah, like, fucking
Comcast, man.
It's cool. It's cool. It happened at the same time, so I can cut out the same period. You know what I mean? There's like fucking like 2 minutes of me going, how the fuck do I put this next video up? That type of thing. Right.
Oh, dude.
But legit, if this guy has 5 subs, 4 of them is his alts. I'll be real with you.
Just to touch on that point, listening to this guy, dude, my Twitter following, people might hear, 5,000. Oh, that's small by comparison.
Yeah.
I have people that are fucking I have people that are fucking running for Congress that follow me. Why, I don't know. Don't ask me. I take it as a sign of.
You would legitimately be amazed who my subs are on YouTube.
And see, that's my whole point. I don't know why these people follow me, but I'm grateful for it because at least they appreciate what I have to say.
I'm gonna tell you like this. There's been quite a few times I drop some shit, and then like the next day, all of a sudden, Razor Fist is doing the same thing. Right? You know what I mean? I got the
believe
big dog. The big dogs know who the fuck I am and what I do. You know what I mean? You know, but it is what it is. Anyway, what I'm saying is this: this guy is legitimately a piece of garbage, and I'm beginning to want to steal his lunch money.
It's annoying.
Yo, because he looks just like Ace of Skulls, which is weird as fuck.
Well, the thing that annoys me about him, we were talking about this before I went live. I have PhDs who fucking argue with me over Twitter, and I enjoy arguing with them because I don't agree with anything they have to say, but they'll sit there and have an argument with me. This guy is so incredibly off base. I'll be honest, I've been gritting my teeth. Like, my jaw is starting to hurt because this guy is a fucking idiot, and it's starting to piss me off. Hey, I'm really trying to keep my cool, but he's annoying.
Just holler out. I'll pause. You know what I'm saying? Holler out. I will pause this bitch and let you do what you got to do. We got about like fucking 12 more minutes left, something like that. 11 more minutes, somewhere around there.
The thing is, I'm gonna save my ever living pimp slap for the very end because this guy is so incredibly annoying. He embodies everything that pisses me off about the progressive movement. If you want this handy dandy fucking the lollipop king reign supreme fucking fantasy world, okay, you fight for that. That's fine. I do not care about the fact that you're trying to fight to make the world a better place. That does not bug me. What bugs me is the fact that you're so incredibly naive and off base that you're willing to burn everything down simply to achieve that goal, which is fundamentally unachievable because you're too stupid to realize that it's fucking fundamentally unachievable. And that pisses me the fuck off. But I'm going to let you continue.
All right, let's keep banging.
I'm going to let you continue.
Often seems to me is that the worst of the worst is highlighted and made to seem like the norm, like made to seem like it's like people are extrapolating this to the rest of society and thinking that the world's going to hell, when I think that if you just went out and talked to regular people about this stuff, they would have, most of them would probably have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's true. It is true that most people wouldn't know what you're talking about because it is quite a like fringe cult, you know. But I don't think it's any less authoritarian or totalitarian. I think, in fact, it allows almost anyone to be a totalitarian. It gives anyone access to the tools that are required to order people around and feel justified in doing it, which I think why the SJW spaces end up looking like they do. You know, they're very intolerant, and it really does look a lot like, as you say, you know. And I'm not trying to downplay the potential oppressive nature of religion in this. I actually think it's a secular version of the same impulse that's going on, and it's kind of democratized the tools of oppression.
We're okay.
Hold on, I just gotta say, legit. All right. When it comes down to violating the rights of individuals and legitimately, you know, harming people, there's nothing worse than government. All right? There's nothing on the planet. There's nothing in the history of the planet that is worse than government. Religion don't even come anywhere near close. If I would have my choice between dealing with the church or dealing with religion and dealing with government, I would choose religion 7 days a week and twice on Sundays. I just want to say that because religion, legitimately, its power is in socialization and ostracization. Nigga, I live for ostracization, all right? I will live my whole life alone if it means that you leave me the fuck be. All right. If it means I don't have to deal with your stupid ass and your dumb followers, I will go on my own path. I'm cool. I don't need you. The fact that these fucking morons think that that religion holds anywhere near the power, or ever did hold anywhere near the power that government did, is fucking patently retarded and ridiculous. All right? At the height of all of religious bullshit, the one that everybody goes to with the what the hell is that shit called, where they burned a whole bunch of goddamn people and shit. DOKU, help me out, man.
Which one are we talking about? Are we talking
The
about
Spanish
the
Inquisition?
Trials?
No, the Inquisition.
Yo, Inquisition, Crusades, Salem
yo,
witch trials.
legit. Yo, the witch trials burned a total. The Salem witch trials burned a total of 40 fucking witches. 40 people.
Oh, for the size of the town, that was significant, but
No. The witch trials as a whole burned 40 people. Okay? The Inquisition as a whole killed like 4,000.
It was a militant.
I don't care.
You could say the same. You could say the same thing about. You could say the same thing about the progressive movement as it is right now. It is a militant endeavor.
Yo, no, I don't. No. What I'm saying is, 4,000 people as a whole. Does that? Could you escape right now? Like, if they decided, hey, look, everybody who's conservative, we're gonna fucking come to your house and drag you out. Would you be alright?
Well, they're about ready to do it. Let's be honest.
No. I'm saying, would you be alright? Would you live?
Oh,
What?
I would be fine from the stance of it's.
Number 1, I got bullets. Number 2, I got guns. Number 3, I got a truck with a 5.3 liter V8. I'm smooth. They're not catching me. There's not a chance.
Yeah, I'd be fine. Yeah.
And on top of that, right down the road, I got a fucking giant diesel tractor trailer that I will roll over everybody with a full tank of gas in it. Well, fuel at this point, you know what I mean? Because it's not gas, it's diesel. But I'm saying, like, that's the mentality that I have. Like, I don't understand why people are so scared of fucking, like, legit, they're still mad about their mom fucking, like, not telling them that the tooth fairy's real. They're still upset about that shit. And it's the most annoying shit anyway. Let's keep going. I just wanted to address that fact because I hate these fucking people.
We're okay, but what I don't really see that what are we assuming that all of these people that are replacing religion with this secular religion are actually even non-believers themselves? I mean, did they actually ever give up their belief in God, or how are we to?
You know what I'm saying? That's a good question to ask. Legit. That's a good question to ask because when you think of the BLM movement, it's led by women, and women tend to be very more religious than men are. Just putting that out there. You know what I mean? I just want to put that in the ether real quick.
Oh, and also it's
how are we determining that they're all atheists?
Are staunchly Marxist.
Well, no, I'm saying like it's women. Right, like black women, and in particular, are very religious, and white women, tend to end up finding religion later on, right, as they get older. You know what I mean?
Well, also, you have to recognize the 4 individuals that are founders of BLM. It not only are they staunchly Marxist, they're extremist leftists.
Oh, no. But what he's saying is like, how do you know that these people are like a-religious, like that they're atheist, right? And it's a really good question to ask. I just wanted to point that out, right? Because
Oh no,
like,
it is a great question because most people don't realize that BLM fundamentally at its core is not an organization that is about police brutality or racial inequality or racial